I'm just going to see if I don't actually have any. Ooh, I've got loads. Ooh, hello. I wonder if any of these still work. I mean, some of these got really, really big. Can I actually? Yeah. Publish here. I can't publish. Hey guys, can't even do the intro right. I've been trying to record this video and decided, you know what, let's just stream it. I've got that ability after all. So, hey guys, I'm Phoenix here and welcome to Space Engineers. This is actually a forum that I go on quite a lot actually. You get some really good sort of discourse, I guess, you know, people talking about gaming and how games progress and interesting new stuff. There's actually quite, you know, there's an awful lot of good stuff on the Space Engineers forums if you are, you know, interested in that sort of thing. The downside is when you've got moderators who want to control what's said, I guess, to make it a little bit more of a safe place for people who think a certain way. And I haven't loaded this world in ages. I just thought, you know what, this world took absolutely forever and the performance was getting quite poor. So let's give this a go. So yeah, ultimately, anyway, I got permanently banned from the forums because I stood up to a moderator. I didn't like the language that he was using to other members, and said so. And other people had said so. I wasn't the only one. And interestingly, I was the only one to receive a ban for it. Okay, this is interesting. Evidently, my ship needs a little bit of modification. This is what Space Engineers did really well. You know, the idea of building ships, and I think what I've got to do is I've got to grind this one at the flight seat out a bit, and I'll move it back a bit because I think it's probably fouling up on other stuff. So we'll just move it. Yeah, this is what the game did really well. This is why I bought the game initially, because you could build some really awesome ships, and you could do theoretically had this stuff sort of gone on from here, we could have had some proper sort of space battles and the like. But unfortunately, the game is sort of just missing an awful lot of good stuff. There's no ladders still in the game, which it's a problem for some people, yeah. So I thought, let's just play some of it, let's see what it's like. It's had all this time in beta, and use an old world because I don't want to start fresh. Starting fresh is it's not very good. So okay, so how do I get into my inventory? Is it that? Yeah, okay. I want to get into my... Oh, is it G menu? Yeah. Sort of relearning some of this stuff. Okay, so I need a control station. I don't want 5. Okay, yes, but I don't want a... Fine. Will you let me do that, though? And then I can weld that one up, hopefully. Except that one needs display. Apparently it needs displays, which I don't have. I might have some resources. I hope so. So yeah, generally though, if you are looking for support, or if you want to suggest anything to the game, anything like that, the best place to go is probably going to be the official Keen support forums these days. Just because I don't really know what's going on with the Steam forums these days. Right. Okay, that's right. So do I not have a drill? Yeah, I do have a drill. I've got a hand drill. How do I? Is it cheap? Do I have to? No. Okay. How do I bind this to a key? A hotbar, so that it pulls it out when I need it. Is that? it's things like this. It's the game doesn't really want. It wants to be a ship construction game with survival, and I do think that they should just left it as a ship construction game, maybe with sort of survival light. I mean, this sort of stuff is quite nice. You kind of got these large doors, but the problem is that so with stationeers you would have a block like this. You kind of got this corner here, and then you can place objects. You know, I think it's like 16 objects in a single cube. And with Space Engineers, it's 1. You know, it's just sort of things like that, and the fact that I can't get my drill for some reason. My hand drill. Ah, here we go. Can I do right? Okay, so that's how you do that. So I've got my. It's not pulling out my hand drill. It just won't do it. That's irritating. Okay, let's exit to main menu. No. It's sort of things like this that obviously the polish just hasn't been done, and it's frustrating. I don't hate the game. I think it's got an awful lot of potential, but no, I don't want to join the game. Let's try a different one. Let's try that one. Let's load that. Yes, I know it's outdated. What I do, so things I do like about the game, about what they've done so far. The loading times have been significantly decreased, which is great because it was the case where loading times could be horrendously long. Yeah, they do appear to have worked a little bit on multi-core as well. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what I'm at. Yeah, game is using all of my cores reasonably evenly, so that's been fixed. Really feels like it used to, really. I guess what we could do. Am I going to get a drill now? No, it doesn't. It won't pull out the drill. I don't know why. Evidently that's a little bit of a bug with old save files. It won't pull out the drill. It's a shame. Phoenix 1, that's what was in Phoenix 1. Yeah, it was, you know, like what you have in that image. Ooh, I've got loads of things. So this welding unit might be interesting to play with. Oh no, that's because I came out the what? It's got no cockpit now because they probably. Right, yeah, what they've probably done is they've updated what components are needed in the new blocks, but instead of just updating all the old blocks to the new style, they've deconstructed them because now they don't have in them what they expect to have in them. Okay, fair enough. So I've now got multiple machines here, which, because it's an old save, no longer actually work. Great, and the hand drill still doesn't work, so I essentially at this point have to start a new game. Okay, fine game, let's do it your way. Let's start a new game. Let's do not workshop, Lone Survivor. Yeah, let's do Lone Survivor. And let's also just make sure that cargo ships are on. I'm just turning on all the things that technically aren't on because the AI is a bit broken. And that will do, I think. Usually I would play it like on realistic settings, but it hasn't been balanced for that. That's fairly obvious that the game has been. We've got a few things around, and we've got if you want to, instead of, okay, so in order to make things easier, having jetpack on a double jump would be nice. So by double jumping, it enables the jetpack. That would have been quite nice, but they haven't done that, fortunately. Do I have any components? That would be the next thing to check. we've got a nuclear reactor with some uranium in, and we've got some oxygen bottles, hand drill. It's just sort of basic sort of starter equipment that you start with anyway on respawn. And for some reason, even though I am in survival mode, it's immediately thought, I know, you need to have, instead of having your tools on your hotbar, you need to have a load of blocks. So I need to go into here, find my tools, which aren't actually a thing that you can search for easily. And hold on, drill. No, it would help if I spelled it correctly. Hand drill. Yeah. Yeah. So I've got a hand drill now. Let's go out to one of these things. See if we can find some ore. See if we can build some stuff. Probably go on for about, I don't know, half hour, depending on how bored I get with it. But yeah, we can, you know, talk about the state of the forums right now. And as said, I think I said anyway, I've kind of lost track of what I've said. So ultimately, I've been permanently banned from the forums because the reason given was that I was always arguing with the moderator. I haven't actually received any warnings. All I've received is sort of these threats and stuff. I received a load of stuff back in April, and all that was sort of sorted out back then, but it seems to have risen up again. Which, you know, I think all forums, as long as people are civil about it, there's no reason to just start banning people on their opinions about the game. I don't think that is a particularly healthy environment to have for a forum. The idea that if somebody posts too many, and we don't really know how many too many is, too many sort of criticisms about the game, then that's it, they're out, even if they are generally supportive of the community. You know, I used to do quite a lot of technical support because I'm one of these weird people who actually quite enjoys just reading down a DX diag and seeing what's wrong with it. There's an awful lot of information that's contained within a DX diag that an awful lot of people don't necessarily realise, and you can do an awful lot of diagnostic stuff just from reading down DX diag. So I've picked up a couple of people a couple of months ago who'd plugged their HDMI lead from their monitor into their motherboard port. It happens, you know. There's so many ports down the back, you know. At some point you are bound to plug something in incorrectly, and that's just sort of part of the course. Certainly not going to point and laugh at them for that, because it happens. But when you are trying to get help and you're frustrated, you're trying to get help on the forums, you're frustrated with this issue that seems to be, you know, keep popping up. What you don't need is for a moderator to tell you a whole load of things that just don't matter, ultimately. You know, telling you to, you know, make sure that your graphics card is the right one being used and all that, when actually, no, you can see that it's not the right one being used because it's not plugged into the right place. And if you then disable your onboard graphics, I do wince whenever I see some technical support being done by the moderators these days, because it's just like, you know, doing open heart surgery with a club. You know, it can be quite painful, but, you know, it's what it is. I have been permanently banned, and I'll just, you know, go and be helpful elsewhere. Ultimately, I am trying to get it, you know, do an appeal, but who knows if that's going to happen. But I thought I would see an awful lot of just very sort of clumsy, clunky UI choices. The game doesn't seem to think, oh, that person is in survival rather than in creative, I'm going to adjust accordingly. If you jump into an empty world with asteroids, the game spawns you without a ship, and you need to kill yourself in order to get a new one. When you get the respawn ship list up, all that it gives you is the list of respawn ships. It doesn't actually give you what each one has in it. And there's plenty of wasted space down one side, which they could very easily put in next to the picture. This is what this ship has. You know, this is a small ship, it doesn't have anything on it, or this is a a large ship, it has a refinery and an assembler, or medibay, or whatever it actually has in it. There's an awful lot of wasted space. They could do that, but they don't. And the game just doesn't play to its strengths. Its strengths is sort of the idea that there's some iron here. The idea that you can build a base, you can build a ship, and you can fight one another over resources. You can do an awful lot of just little tricks with maps to make sure that people have conflict. Certainly by shrinking the map. So currently the game supports 6.6 AU of space. Really, it doesn't need that much. Really doesn't need that much. You could limit the world down and you'd save an awful lot in performance. I mean, that's basically the distance, I believe, from the Earth to Jupiter. It's huge anyway. You could deal with 100,000 kilometers. Done.